Okay, on this lesson, this Oscar here, in this lesson I'm going to talk about if and else statement in Python and the syntax of that. Before I start, I create two variables. I call one of them is a, and I give you a value to that one is, for example, 50, and I create another variable b, and I give the value of the 400 to this one. Let me have a space here. Okay. In Python, before I started, we have the condition on the Python. So if two two items that are equal, say, is it A equal to B? So that's the equal sign. And then, the next one, if we say that A is not equal, so this goes is not equal, then B. And then the next one is going to be that if A is less than B. So this sign is going to be less than B. And again, next one is going to be A. Let me give a space here, and then greater than B. Even if it's not a space, doesn't make any difference, but for readability, it's going to be that. Or here I can say that if A is less than or equal to B. And the next one is going to be if A is greater than equal B. So those are the condition that we have. So we have if A equal B. So you should remember those one, that is equal sign. If it's A not equal B, if it's A less than B, whatever is inside is greater. So if A greater than B, if A less than or equal B or not. So this is two variables that create. So let me put it in the concept, see how does it work. Okay, I'm going to comment each individual here, so it's not going to be bad. It's good for future, for reference it. So here it is. So let us start with the first one. In Python, we say if. At this point, I said that if B, let me do that one, is greater than A. This is as in, I think in English we talk, that's if B is greater than A, then what to do? Okay, then I will ask print. When we say that, okay, yes, B is greater than A. Okay, that's going to be printed out for us. So let me do this one. Let me run that one. I have to go to the current file, run it, and it say yes, B is greater than. Okay. Before I continue, let me go correct here. Let me do this thing. If I go back here and I do this one, it's the same thing. See, if B is greater than N, then print this one. Let me see what will happen here. This gives me an error message. Okay, in Python is different than different languages. In different languages, if you indented it, that is only for readability or be following the code. In Python, the indenting is a part of the code. If you don't have it, that's going to give you an error message. So right now I give this one. So you have to make sure that you have to give them the indented, otherwise give you. And then I say that else, I can say here that else if it's not, do different thing. Then I'm going to here, else if A, in this case, if you say if A greater than B, then print for me and say that, okay, is this time is A greater than B, which A is not actually greater than B, but I just put if A less than B, say yes, A is smaller. As I say yes, A is smaller than B. Let me see how does it going to work. In this case, the first one is right, the first is right, so it's not going to give me because it's going to be A, B is greater than, so the second one is not going to, the first one is right, is going, but if right now I do this one different, I just made this one to 500 and run this one to see what will happen. Doesn't do nothing, because in the first case B is not greater, so ignore this one. Then A is less than is not, so ignore this one. So neither of these conditions is true, unless I have to change this one to A greater. See what will happen. Yeah, yes, A is greater. So we have to make sure that when we put the condition, one of the conditions should be right. Otherwise, none of the condition is going to be executed. So in Python, for writing if, we say if this variable is greater or this variable is equal, then A, do certain thing. If not, go to the next step. Let's we have the more sense of something that I make more sense. In this manner, I just want to say that what will happen here. Let me say that if A is equal, B is not. So if one of the condition is right, do a certain thing. Then I say if else, other condition is true, do this one. If it's none of this condition is true, let me do certain things. Like if in this case I want to know that this be executed, so if I have to say that if A, so what I'm going to say that else, then I'm going to print out, so if B is greater than A, which is not, so it's going to ignore this one. Is A equal B? They are not, so ignore this statement. Else, what's going to say that? It's going to say A is greater than B. That statement is going to write here. So if right now I just do it, see what's said. Yes, A is greater than B. So we have if statement, if start, and then we have one of those condition equal. Now I can say if it's not equal, the same thing is going to be that it's greater than equal. What will happen? Okay, let's go to the next one to see. Let me show you other way that we can do it, how it's going to be that. There's a short way to do this certain thing. Let me do this one. If I say here it is, if A greater than B, just I can say right here, print, let me give them the example if it's true, if it's A less than B, print, yes, it is less than A, or okay, yes, B is less than A. So that's a shorter way to do it. If I don't want to go to the next step, that's a short way to do it. So we put all of them in one line and there's nothing else to do it. If I just run it, it's going to be that. So that's a short way to do it. So I don't do this one, but I just prefer to have everything on line that I'll be able to follow the code. Okay, let me add one more value here, and I will, this one gives C, and I give you a value of the 200. So what I try to do here, I want to compare if, well, let me show you how I want to use and or. This is another two statement that we can use it. I can say that if, here it is, if B, I want to make sure, I have to make sure the difference between and or. Okay, and I have to have both condition true. So if I use it and, I have to make sure that both condition true. So if I have to say that if A, let me do this one, if A greater than B, which is true, and if C, again, or B is greater than C, if this is both cases true, just print the condition is true. So if both cases, on and cases should be, these two both statements should be true until it comes true. So if I do it, a condition. But if I say that, if right now here I say that, because change the, and so if A is greater than B, that is true. Is it B? Okay, I should say that if it's B less than, which is not less than C, tell me what's happening. Nothing is happening, because neither of these two conditions, both conditions should be true until this condition. Else I have to write it, else print for me both condition. I have to print it out that both condition are not true, because in the and cases both conditions should be right. Both conditions are not true. So in and statement we have to have both condition true until this statement happen. If both condition is not, go right here. But if I put or and just run it, the or condition is that only one statement should be true, then the whole condition will be true. So in the and statement both should be true. The or condition, just only one statement true, is go to the next step. So in this case, A is greater than B, that's true. B is less than C, that is not true, but only needed one statement be true until this condition be true. This can be happen, let me give you a better example. Let me change this variable here, what I'm going to say that. I'm going to say that credit score I give the credit score 700 and down payment I say down payment if the person has $5,000 down payment. So well, I have to make that one capital letters to do that. Okay. So I want to say that if a person has credit score of 700 and 5,000 down payment, can buy a car, this particular car this dealership wanted. If doesn't have them, cannot do that. So what I can say here, let me go back here and do all the if. Say if credit score is greater than 700 and down payment 5,000, right? Yes, you can buy this car. Okay, so in this case both should be right until they be able to do it. The simple reason that we are going to have that, let's see how this works. So in this case neither of the condition is true, so nothing he can do. I have to probably put here else, not probably, for sure I have to put else. Then what I say, sorry, you cannot buy this car. So what will happen? So in this case, sorry, you cannot buy because they are not. But if just right now I put equal here, if both of these will true, see what will happen. Say you can buy, so it will be 700. Now if I change one of these two, just make it to the or, so for the and statement should be both of them true. They call this one, they call it logical operator. So that's a logical operator for that one, and on or. So both statements should be true until they will be able to buy the car. And then I can say that, or if just only you have one of them, we are able to buy a car. In this case, I will change it to the or, but one of the statement we write that if just one person has a credit score of 700 and doesn't have even a down payment, they can buy that car. So if I run it, the first statement is going to, yes, you can buy this car. So the logical operator for if a statement, if we have or anything that is going to be or an and both statements should be true until the second that be executed. We have two here, they call nested if. Let me have the two nested leaf here to see how does it work. I'm going to delete all of this here. So what my question is, I just want to make sure that we check if both of these number are equal. So say if credit score is greater than or equal 700, then I will let the buyer know that. Print you may be able to buy a car. Okay, and then I'm going to have this one again another if statement, and I will say that if the down payment here greater than 5,000, else what I'm going to do that you may not be able to buy this car. Okay, let me run it, see how does it work. Okay, one thing for sure before I do that, I have to have this statement to be able to, okay. You may be able to buy a car. The first statement go is equal, but you may not be able because the second statement is not right. So, but if I just put this one again equal, see what will happen. I have two statements that's going to be that. So you may be able to buy a car, you may be able to buy a car because both statements are true, and then else, there is no else statement because here both statement is going to be true. So the else statement is not going to be executed. So there's again two, they call two if statement and then else statement is going to be. So hopefully you get something through that one, but let me have one exercise here. Okay, what we are going to create, we are going to create three variable here, a, and give a number, example 5, and another one variable and give a value of the 4, another variable c and give a variable of the 3. Okay, and ask the user give you a value and compare if this value is equal. If ask a user give a value from 1 to 5 and check see if they are equal to one of this one. Okay, let me do it together. I pause for a few seconds. Let's see if we can do it together. So I'm comparing each value right now. So I said if the number greater than 5, which should not be greater than 5. Okay, print 5. Okay, then I want else, check it for me, see if the number is equal to b, then print out the number. What has to print? The number is 4, so print the number is 4. So we want to say here the number, what number is it? And again I will have one more else, if else statement. So if the number is c, then the number is 3, and else I want to say that if the number is not between these two numbers, print for me the number was not fine. Okay, let me do this one, see how does it work. Okay, one more time. I do it, actually I have to have a space here. One more time. Okay, third number, so I say the number, let me see, 7. So should be less than 5. Let's go to go again one more time and put it 3. See how does it do? It is 3. Let's go to the next one, say 2. The number doesn't found because we don't have any 2. So that's, hopefully you did it up to this farm. So it's going to be if else, the rest is going to be that. Hopefully you enjoy this one and you learn from this lesson.